Well, hello everyone. I'm Sarah with Primed for Health Whole Health Coaching, and in this video, I'm going to talk about closing loops. And I mean closing loops in your brain. Your brain always wants to close loops, but this can actually kind of work against you. And let me explain. I was just speaking with a client, coaching him, and we were talking about goal setting and getting things done. And when you make a list of goals for the day, actually completing one before you move on to the other one. Because I do this, I know a lot of people do this, kind of get one going, and then maybe you'll start another thing, and then you'll start another thing, and pretty soon you have multiple things open that you're doing, and you aren't completing any of them because you're working on all of them. So one of the things I've been trying to work on is completing a goal before I move on to the next one. And that, in a way, is closing a loop, right? We have this loop working, and with a big goal, we have this big loop, and we're trying to work around and close it. We're trying to, get it done. And in the process, your brain can start to try and get you to close lots of little loops. So you can start your task and be working, and then all of a sudden your brain says, hey, let's check Facebook. And so maybe you go and check Facebook, and ding, you close the loop. Then you're like, okay, got to get back to it. And then you're working a little bit more, and your brain says, we should check our phone. And so you go and you check your phone, and ding, you close another little loop. Well, that's setting up the habit of closing all those little loops around the way. But instead of closing the big loop in a timely fashion and just getting it done, you're going and close a little loop, going, close a little loop, going, close a little loop, and then all of a sudden you're like way off track over here, and you haven't closed that big loop. The little loops are the things that our brain really loves to close, right? Because we get those little dopamine hits off of it. So this can happen with food. We can be distracted by food. Even if we have a goal to make a beautiful, healthy meal, that's the big loop. We might get distracted by, but it'd be so much easier to eat chips and salsa for dinner. Little loop. And your brain's happy because it got what it wanted. But you don't achieve the bigger aim that you're going after. So you have to pay attention to those little loops that your brain constantly wants to have you close. Because it'll start the process, the little loop process, and if you don't complete it, that's really uncomfortable. Your brain doesn't like that. It wants to go through to completion. That's all it's trying to do. Here's the thought, do the behavior, and complete it. So if you're trying to control little loops, if you're trying to not close those small loops and get out of the habit of that, it is going to be very uncomfortable. Because your brain, when it pushes you towards something, it wants you to complete the task. It's giving you direction. It's giving you aim. And you have to actually have awareness that that's happening and choose not to close that loop. And that's not so much fun, right? It's not so much fun to have that thought to check your phone and check yourself and be like, no, I'm not going to check my phone right now. There's a little bit of a letdown feeling that happens. But in the process, you're training your brain to refocus on the bigger goal that you want to finish, the bigger loop that you want to close, that you don't get immediate satisfaction from, but you get greater satisfaction once you actually get it done, because it feels so good to get those big projects, those big tasks, those big goals accomplished, right? That's what creates that really big feeling of accomplishment, rather than all those just little dopamine hits that don't lead to any long-term satisfaction at all. They're just really momentary, fun little things. So remember that your brain is always looking to close loops, but it's going to always choose the little loops first before it gets you through the big loops. And it's going to take effort and awareness and self-control in order to not start closing all those little loops. But you can totally do it. We're all very capable of it. It's going to be uncomfortable, and just let yourself be uncomfortable, because you can be. You can feel that. We can all feel that. We often have the tendency to just try so hard not to feel anything uncomfortable. But we're capable of it, and it's just a feeling. All the feeling is a vibration in your body. Your body releases a chemical, which are molecules, which go and vibrate through and set off your nervous system and tell it what to feel. That's all that's happening. But we can make it so much bigger in our mind than what it actually is. So I'm going to challenge you to close a big loop, to not get distracted and get something larger done that's going to work towards your higher being. For more information, check out my website, primedforhealth.com, and I'll catch you later.